The secret to disaster is this movie, this movie, this movie, this movie. The secret to disaster is this movie, this movie, this movie, this movie. Oh, I can't believe I'm talking negative about SpongeBob, but here we are. Hey guys, this is Frozen Wish Studios here, and welcome back to another movie review. And sadly, though, this is not going to be a review. This is going to be a rant on the SpongeBob movie, Sponge on the Run. So the SpongeBob movie, The Sponge on the Run, is the third installment in the SpongeBob quadrilogy, and the latest film of the main SpongeBob movies, the main SpongeBob franchise so far, minus its spin-offs, and it came out in the year 2020, the shittiest year ever, and it is directed by Tim Hill, one of the people who ruined SpongeBob, and it stars pretty much the same cast as you'd expect in SpongeBob, plus with actors like Matt Berry, Matt Berry, Aquafina, Snoop Dogg, Danny Trejo, Tiffany Haddish, Reggie Watts, etc. And so the film tells the story, the so-called story of SpongeBob's pet snail Gary, who has been taken to the lost city of Atlantis because King Poseidon ordered residents of Bikini Bottom to give up snails to him, like give because King Poseidon needed snails, and so Plankton used this as an opportunity. When Plankton realized that SpongeBob is the reason why Plankton's plans constantly failed, he decides to break SpongeBob's heart by bringing Gary into by bringing Gary to King Poseidon. And so now SpongeBob and Patrick must go on an adventure to the lost city of Atlantis in order to rescue Gary from King Poseidon with the help of Sandy's new robot assistant Otto, who serves as a driver. And along the way, they do have some weird ass dream sequences where they end up in the live action world and all that stuff. And so when King Poseidon frames SpongeBob for being a snail thief who wanted to kidnap Gary without realizing that Gary is SpongeBob's pet snail. He is sentenced to execution. Now it is up to SpongeBob's friends to help rescue SpongeBob and yada yada yada. Oh my goodness! So now, I'm sure you guys have seen my reviews of the first two SpongeBob movies in preparation, and so yeah, I thought the first two SpongeBob movies were just great for the most part. Although yes, the Sponge Out of Water is nowhere near as good as the original SpongeBob SquarePants movie. I still think it is a very service. It is a very solid sequel, and the last very solid and the last good SpongeBob movie to date. And so when I heard that they were making a third one, I was like, okay, it's SpongeBob. I didn't really have much expectations for it other than it's another SpongeBob movie. And yeah. But then when I saw that trailer for it, I honestly was put off by the movie. I was worried about it. I was concerned about it. Reason why is because Reason why is because of the animation. I was not impressed with this new animation style. It did not look like it was going to work for not only in terms of a SpongeBob movie, but let alone a movie that's supposed to release in theaters. And so, yeah, I was not anticipating this movie whatsoever. This was, yeah, but I wasn't really expecting to hate this movie. I was like thinking that it was just going to be an underwhelming, at best, SpongeBob movie. Yeah, and this movie came out, and this was one of those movies that was affected by the COVID pandemic. Yeah, this actually, and believe it or not, guys, this actually came out on 2021 in the US for US viewers on Netflix. Like, it was like in early 2021, something like that. But for countries like Canada and Australia, it actually did come out in 2020. Let alone, I think it was August when I actually got to see this film. Yeah, I actually got to see this film online, camcorded, all thanks to Canada, because yes, thanks to the fact that this was released in theaters in Canada and a few other countries, it was posted online. I think I was given a link to it. If I'm not mistaken, I think there was a one of my subscribers who gave me a link to this film, and the subscribers of this YouTuber. I used to this YouTuber was a friend, was someone who I used to be friends with, but not anymore. By the way, yeah, I that user gave me a copy of this film on camcorder, and I saw it. And I will admit this. I did not think this movie was that bad at first. I was like, okay, it's fine. It was alright, but I've always considered it as the weakest SpongeBob movie, like even from the start. But I didn't really think it was that bad. I thought like, okay, it's just a harmless. It was just a harmless SpongeBob movie. And all that stuff. And I gave it like a 3 out of 5. I believe like a 6 out of 10. I was like, yeah, it was alright. And Yeah, but I've always hated this one big problem with the film where it was basically shoehorning in. Okay, basically I'll get to that later on in the review. And yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, I just remembered something. This movie actually came out on Netflix in my country in November 2020. Yeah, it was mostly in 2021 where US users got to see it on Netflix, but in my country it was it came out in November 2020. Yeah. So, however, although I thought it was just painfully average at first, the but my thoughts on this film is basically similar to Schaefer's thoughts on Ralph Breaks the Internet, where you know how Schaefer thought that Ralph Breaks the Internet was painfully average at first when it first came out, but then the more he thought about it, the more it got worse for him. That's basically me with this film. The more I thought about this movie, the more it just keeps getting worse and worse and freaking worse. And so yeah, after rewatching this movie on Netflix a few days ago, I think it was 2 days ago, I gotta say, oh my goodness, this movie actually fucking sucks. Yeah, this movie is absolutely terrible. Like, oh my goodness, it is so bad. Like, it is garbage. The SpongeBob movie, Sponge on the Run, is one of the biggest embarrassments to ever come out of SpongeBob. Where do I even begin with this? Yeah, like what I said, the film eventually went straight to Netflix due to the pandemic, with a few countries allowing this film to release in theaters. But it's hard to believe that this film was made to be theatrically released. The animation is awful. Good Jeebus. I get that this is a new style for animation that the filmmakers wanted to go for, but it is so cheap looking and choppy with the movements. If this is the animation they went for to present in theaters, then it's embarrassing. I think this is as bad. This is honestly on the same level of bad as as Saving Bikini Bottom's animation. Yeah, it is. Excuse me. It is that bad, and even Plankton the movie has had a better animation than this. Yeah, I am not kidding. I'm not kidding. Yeah, and yeah, it just does not work for me. CGI SpongeBob does not work for me. Sure, the CGI animation in Sponge Out of Water, where they went out of surface, they went on the surface in that film. It worked for me, but when it came to this film, yeah, nope. It's yeah. I mean, why didn't they make this a 2D animation? Oh, is it because we're in a new era of SpongeBob? Like no, just hell no. But if you think the animation is the film's biggest problems, oh trust me, there are worse things about the film than the bad animation. Oh boy. Am I the only one who noticed that the story in this film is a complete rehash of the first SpongeBob movie? Sure, a lot of people did notice that this story is a rehash of the episode. Have you seen the snail with Gary getting kidnapped? But if you watch this in the first SpongeBob movie back to back, the comparisons couldn't be more obvious. SpongeBob and Patrick go on a journey to a faraway place in order to rescue something or someone that was taken and return it to its rightful owner. The journey involves the two of them running into some obstacles, and one of those obstacles involves a bar. And yeah, but in the case of the first SpongeBob movie, it's basically the crown that Plankton stole a crown from King Neptune. Um, King Neptune. And by the way, I think I might have referred to King Poseidon as King Neptune a few times. This is basically King Poseidon in this film, but yeah, Plankton stole the crown and brought it to like a faraway place in Shell City, and so Sponge and so SpongeBob and Patrick go on a journey to get back. And in this film, Plankton stole Gary from SpongeBob and then brought it to King Neptune. In the lost city of Atlantis, so SpongeBob and Patrick must get it back. Yeah, doesn't that sound similar? And yeah, but there are some major differences besides the similarities. One difference is that the original SpongeBob movie had some deep themes and messages and had stakes to it. With the, the first film had great themes about about having a childlike mind, and it's okay to like things that are that are childlike, and also with its themes, yeah, no, not themes, stakes as well. Like it had stakes like Plankton like turning Bikini Bottom into slavery, and also SpongeBob and Patrick constantly being threatened to get hurt, and even almost got killed off, and they even almost killed off SpongeBob and Patrick in like what is possibly the most emotional scene in all of SpongeBob, not just the movies but the SpongeBob media. But this film, it is so safe. Like they play itself way too safe. The problem with this film is that the obstacles in this film is that they're basically just dream sequences, which is just bullshit. Like at least in the original, the obstacles were actually real, and yes, SpongeBob and Patrick were threatened a lot of times. But when SpongeBob and Patrick being threatened was all just a dream, then that is some major BS right there. Like that whole bar sequence where SpongeBob and Patrick were at with some live action humans, and then they um melt Danny Trejo's character, who was like the leader of the bar, like and all that stuff. Yeah, that was just a dream. Yeah. Oh, and yeah, Keanu Reeves as Sage. Yeah, what is Keanu Reeves doing this? Keanu Reeves, you're freaking John Wick and Neo, and I would say Shadow too, but Shadow is basically Sonic 3 is basically a movie that came out 4 years, almost 5 years after this, so I won't say Shadow, but. Plus, I think both John Wick and Neo are better Keanu Reeves performances anyways. But seriously, Keanu Reeves, what are you doing? This is Keanu Reeves' worst performance yet by a landslide. I don't remember if there were any bad Keanu Reeves performances. I'm sure there were, but yeah, I'm very sure that Sage is his worst performance. He was clearly phoning in his performance as Sage. You can see that he was bored out of his mind and did not want to be there, especially when he talks like this throughout. And even had such a bored ass, had a straight face. He looks so bored throughout this film. Aquafina also gives her worst performance as the robot Otto. And what is it with Aquafina Aquafina like in like random roles that just gives her a paycheck, random small roles. First Angry Birds 2 and now this. Like come on Aquafina, you're better than this. And say what you want about Aquafina as Jen in Kung Fu Panda 4, but at least that performance felt genuine. It felt like Aquafina is actually trying to put in some effort to her voice performance and not just there for a paycheck. But with roles like Courtney from Angry Birds 2 and Otto from this film, yeah. There were also a bunch of celebrity voice cameos in this, as a lot of background characters in Atlantis were voiced by celebrities, and their voice performances were so bad that it almost made my ears bleed. Oh god, especially Snoop Dogg's performances. Like his voice did not fit with that fish he was voicing. Good, James. But the worst thing about this film, the most offensive thing about this film, has to be the Camp Coral backstory. This movie was clearly meant as an advertisement for Camp Coral, which is an awful show, by the way. Camp Coral was just terrible. Yeah, I might do a rant on Camp Coral and also the Patrick Star show soon, but not now, not soon. We'll see when. And yeah, so there was basically this courtroom scene when SpongeBob tried to steal Gary from King Poseidon, and then SpongeBob like what was going to get executed. SpongeBob and Patrick were going to get executed for it. And by the way, why would you get executed for just for stealing someone? It's not like SpongeBob killed somebody. Like really, like that is so stupid. And then there is this like stupid courtroom session scene that felt like it was like that was not taken seriously because it's a kids film. They gotta like not complicate things. So how do people speak? So basically the King Poseidon's lawyer who was like who spoke against the SpongeBob's code of crimes. All he said was, "How dare you?" He said, "How dare you?" 1 bajillion times, up to the point where it just got incredibly annoying. And then SpongeBob's friends come in, and then they try to defend SpongeBob. The best defense for SpongeBob, SpongeBob's innocence, is that he owns Gary, and that Gary was not meant to be taken to Poseidon. And by the way, how the fuck did SpongeBob not find out that Plankton was the one who kidnapped Gary and delivered it to Poseidon? Poseidon asked for a snail. Like it could have literally been any snail, not just you know, not just Gary. But so that was like one major plot hole there. But apparently, SpongeBob's friends but apparently SpongeBob's the defense that SpongeBob's friends could come up with for SpongeBob is that, oh, SpongeBob is so nice to us. He has a heart, and that's why you should not execute him. And then it brought them back to Camp freaking Coral. Yeah, apparently Camp Coral is enough of a justification for SpongeBob's innocence. Good grief. The concept of Camp Coral in general is a huge insult to Steven Hillenburg's legacy, since it gets everything wrong and breaks canon to the actual show. We clearly saw how SpongeBob and Sandy met for the first time, as it was in the episode Tea at the Treedom. Yeah, SpongeBob didn't even meet Mr. Krabs until he got hired at the Krusty Krab in the episode Help Wanted, which is the very first episode of the show. So, like, the fact that every single character met in Camp Coral, like, there's no way that was possible. It was clear just the writers not understanding anything. Oh, and by the way, I don't even think Sandy landed in Bikini Bottom when she was just a kid. I have a feeling that Sandy already came into Bikini Bottom before the events of Theater Treedom. Seriously. Poseidon is a terrible antagonist, and the fact that he became a pussy in the end, J-Bus. The humor is a huge miss because I never laughed once. Like, there was never an attempt of humor. Yeah. But at the very least, I will give this movie this. unlike Saving Bikini Bottom, at least it's not an irredeemable disaster. And there were some good things about the film. I love this. I actually really do like this. The lost city of Atlantis. It looks absolutely beautiful. Like it looks like a huge piece for the eyes, and it looks like a place that I would love to go to. I would say that I actually did enjoy the scene where SpongeBob and Patrick were like goofing around in the lost city of Atlantis because of how good it looked, and then they were like yeah goofing around there, and yeah. I would rather watch 9 minutes of that scene instead of just the rest of the film. Oh, and I will say this featured one of the best SpongeBob songs. The secret to the formula is you. I used to. I was not a fan of that song when I first watched this film. I was like, it was kind of annoying. But honestly, I don't know why I was not a fan of that song. It was just like I think that song is great because it's very catchy. It had a lot of heart to it put into that song, and it was very entertaining to watch. Like there were some like slick dance numbers as well, and yeah, it was just a great song in general. I wouldn't go as far as putting it as the greatest SpongeBob song of all time. I know Phantom Shredder considers "Secret to the Formula" as his favorite SpongeBob song. I can see why, but in my opinion, yeah, the best SpongeBob song would be "Fun." Yeah, F is for friends who do stuff together. U is for you and me. N is for anywhere. Yeah, that would be my personal favorite SpongeBob song. But to get to the formula would be my top 10 SpongeBob songs. So overall, the SpongeBob movie "SpongeBob the Run" is one of the reasons why this show has reached its downfall because it is just terrible. I think that SpongeBob should have ended when Steven Hillenburg died because look what happened. This whole film is just one big advertisement for that shitty camcorder show that is a huge disgrace to these characters and what Steven Hillenburg has created for them. The story is is a copy of both the first SpongeBob film and in the episode Have You Seen the Snail? The animation is ugly, it's never funny at all, and it is just downright boring. It may not be an irredeemable disaster, but it comes quite close to it. This would be the second worst animated movie of 2020 behind, obviously, Trolls World Tour. Yes, guys, I would rather watch Scoob than this horrible film. And it is also the second worst SpongeBob movie ever made behind Saving Bikini Bottom. And yes, guys, say what you want about the Plankton movie, but this makes Plankton the movie look like band geeks in comparison. So that said, guys, I'm going to give the SpongeBob movie Sponge on the Run 1 star out of 5. Horrible movie. So also for my rant on the SpongeBob movie Sponge on the Run, what are your thoughts on the film? Would you agree with me that this movie sucked? Or do you actually think that this movie is overhated? Comment down below, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and stay tuned for my review on Plankton the movie. Bye, guys.